All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you again for your time today. I'm Colton. I am your Maximo technical specialist here at IBM. So I'm your go-to guy for all product demonstrations, deep dives, and even making just sure that we bring in the right people to make sure that our clients' projects are a success. I have 8 years Maximo experience and been working a variety of with different clients across utilities, manufacturing, retail to ensure that they can implement Maximo as intended. So today we're going to be doing a demonstration to show off some of the key capabilities and functionality of Maximo around the use case of a construction project. Now, for the demonstration that we're going to see here, let's say that as part of this construction project, this client wants better visibility into not only the time, cost, material, services, tools, labor required for their construction project, but as the project and the work package are being created and implemented, ensure that they're up to speed. Is the work being done within the right fashion? Or do we have enough inventory to allow our technicians to conduct the work needed as part of the overall construction project plan? Now, while Maximo isn't a capital planning tool like our sister product, or capital projects planning tool like our sister product, Tririga, Maximo is capable of assisting in calculating, okay, what work needs to be done, and then allowing our team members to complete the work. And so that's really what we're going to showcase here is how within this demonstration is how a construction projects would be completed within Maximo and making it a more effective and efficient process. So for this demo, we're really going to walk you through a scenario that'll help you get an idea of what this process could look like for you. And the goal of this demonstration is to show off some of the out-of-the-box capabilities and functionalities within Maximo that could be applied to help a lot of you all solve the challenges that you're facing today around creating a construction project and when implementing, ensuring that you have the right resources, materials, services, tools needed to complete the overall project. So there's three personas that we're going to focus on in today's demonstration. The first is Sam, the supervisor or planner that we see here. Now, Sam is responsible for creating the overall work plan for the construction project, and Sam wants to ensure that the project is on schedule, being completed within the allocated budget, has the right materials, tools, labor, services needed for completion. Now, in the past, Sam was challenged in not having visibility into the work that was being completed. Was it being completed on time and with the right resources? Next, we have Sam, the storeroom clerk, who once the project is in place, then manages the inbound material, whether that's from a purchase order or transfer, so that they have all the required material needed for the project. Stan will receive and inspect all of the materials and tools needed for the construction project and ensure they get allocated to the right individuals to complete the work needed. Stan is also responsible for maintaining and monitoring all their inventory. Now, in the past, there was a lack of tracking of material coming in, excess material left over from other projects, or even a lack of material that they would need for the project that they are undergoing. A great example of that is maybe someone ordering four but only receiving two of an item. So in this scenario, Stan didn't have visibility into if they had enough material, accurate counts of inventory, and oftentimes he would receive material without knowing if it was the right part or not. And then lastly, we have Tom, the technician. And Tom is responsible for delivering on the work for the project. And in the past, Tom struggled and constantly having to wait for material for him to complete the overall work. And so that's the demo that we're going to see here. And then lastly, there's a couple other capabilities that Stan, the storeroom clerk, leverages, such as viewing dashboards that has all of his key performance indicators, looking at the overall master list of items, their overall quantities within their storerooms, and managing their inventory. So I'll walk you through that process as well. before we jump into the demonstration, there's typical benchmarks of improvements that we see our clients having by implementing a solution that such as the one that we're gonna showcase here today. The low-hanging fruit as far as ROI points that we're gonna realize through implementing Maximo is such as labor utilization, making sure we have the right resources and ensuring that as those resources are doing the work, they have the right material that they need and they're not sitting around waiting for material to get to them. Inventory needs. So ensuring that we have the right inventory, that we're monitoring inventory not being used. And maybe we have inventory sit around that haven't been used for over a year. How do we monitor that in Maximo? And that goes into carrying costs as well. Improvements around reducing overall carrying costs can have significant value to clients. And this is just an example use case that we're going to show today that showcases that. So as I mentioned before, we're going to start off this story with Sam, the supervisor or planner. So the first thing Sam's going to do is open up their Maximo environment that they have access to. And here we're going to see all of the different applications within Maximo that Sam has access to on their day to day. We're going to also see some that Sam does not have access to. Uh, for for more information on what a lot of these applications are, we have on my YouTube channel, you're going to see a lot of videos around how we ingest real-time data from assets, how we predict their failures, how as part of an inspection we improve the quality of the inspection using AI, how we assist less seasoned technicians using generative AI and AI to assist them when doing repairs or completing their work, and how we optimize inventory using machine learning as well. But coming back to Sam, the supervisor, the module that Sam uses the most on their day to day is Maximo Manage. So Sam's going to go ahead and open up Maximo Manage. As I mentioned, the use case that we're covering today is a construction project. So Sam's going to want to go ahead and go over to work order tracking within Maximo using the nifty tool that we have in the top right left-hand corner, which is our navigation tool. One thing to note about Maximo is it can be fairly intimidating when you open up, but once you get used to it, it is an extremely powerful tool, and it's the reason why Maximo has been leading the asset management market and the asset performance management market for over 23 years now. So Sam, the supervisor, is going to go ahead and open up the work package that they have for this construction project. And a quick way to do this here is Sam can either begin to filter by, okay, the work that we have for a specific location, maybe it includes a specific asset type or class, or even being able to filter the search by its scheduled start and finish date. Sam's going to go ahead and just as an example, let's go ahead and say that we have a certain description for this overall project. Sam's going to go ahead and open up this work package and begin to have a holistic view of what this overall project is. So here we have a parent work order for the overall construction project. We can see the key milestones of this project if we go to plans. Here are what we call in Maximo child work orders. For a construction project, these could be key milestones needed in order to complete the project. For example, we have site preparation, civil works, installation of utilities, quality control, and safety management. Each of these work orders are going to have different tasks, labor, materials, services, and tools associated with it that are required in order for the work to be completed. Now, as Sam, the supervisor, the thing that's really important for me here is to be able to look at this overall construction project and understand things such as what is going to be the overall cost of the project. Here we can see the whole work package cost is listed and detailed below, including internal labor hours, external, what is the overall materials cost from the project. And again, this is pulling all of the information that we have in those milestones that we just looked at earlier. It's combining all the labor, services, tool costs, all into a report that Sam can quickly open up and view a very high level understanding of what this is going to cost from a project standpoint. The next thing that Stan's going to want to do is look at the overall, or Sam is going to want to do is look at the overall plan to understand, okay, well, what exact labor are we going to need? What type of crafts, skill sets are we going to need in order to complete the construction project? Here's where we'd be able to see exactly, okay, what's the work order? What's the craft? What's the rate? And the effective hours that we're going to need from each of these skilled team members. As we scroll through some of these tabs, we're going to see, okay, this answers the question of what materials we'll need. What external contracts do we have with individuals who could potentially do a lot of this work for us as we're completing these projects? And what tools do we need, and what's the overall cost and hours associated that we'll need to have these tools on reserve for the project? The next thing Sam's going to want to do as part of this project, and let me go ahead and change the status of this to show you. Let's say that this is waiting on approval, because there's one thing I want to highlight as part of this demonstration. So before we approve this work package, one thing that Sam's going to want to do is going to be able to look at the work package material status. So here we can see, for example, that a part of this project, they have, for example, required quantities as well as available quantities within the storeroom. So the next thing that Sam is going to want to do as part of assessing this overall work package is to scroll down and look at the overall work package material status. Now, the question that Sam is asking herself right now is, do I have enough material in order to complete this project? And as we open up the work package materials, we can quickly see that of the required quantity, we actually don't have enough available within our central storeroom, specifically when we're looking at gravel. The reason why this is so important is this tells Sam that she's gonna need their storeroom clerks to order more material, whether this is transferring it from other storerooms. And here we can see this is the storeroom which they're going to be pulling a lot of these resources from to be sent to the central storeroom, or maybe even putting together a reorder for a PO to be put out to get more gravel. This is the type of information that Maximo tracks as we're creating these and approving these work order packages. Now, for the purposes of, let's say that Sam was to, for example, approve the overall work package. Maximo is automatically going to be able to pick up on the fact that they don't have the required material needed to complete the work. And you're going to see that in a second as part of our milestones needed to complete the work. Everything was approved besides the site preparation. And the reason why is because Maximo automatically flagged that it can't approve this because we are waiting on material. If we go back to the overall work package plan, we can also see that Maximo flagged our work package material status of not having enough material to complete the work. One thing that, and this is the importance of having all this information available to Sam's fingertips. What if there's already been a purchase order or a transfer created within Maximo? What Sam is going to want to view next is to be able to look at, okay, are there any purchase orders or requisitions that have been created against this work already? And here the answer is no. So Sam is going to need her storeroom clerk or to be able to create a reorder function that'll generate a purchase requisition based off of the missing items as part of this work package. So that's the next thing I'm going to show as part of this demo is how Stan, the storeroom clerk, would then use the reorder function within Maximo to reorder the material needed for this project. So let's quickly switch hats away from Sam, the supervisor, and look at how this process would be managed in the background in order to get the material needed for the construction project. So here, the first thing that Stan, the storeroom clerk, is going to navigate to the inventory application within Maximo. Now, one thing to highlight here is based off of users' permissions, they're probably not going to see all of these applications. These applications are only available to me because I have the permissions to access all of them. Now, typically for a storeroom clerk, they might only have access to, example, the inventory application. So instead of seeing a long list, they may only see inventory. So here, Stan, the storeroom clerk, goes over to their inventory application. And here we can pull up all the inventory that is currently being tracked in Maximo today. Stan could then quickly, using our filtering tools, be able to filter down just material for our essential storerooms. But in the case that we want to make this more specific to our construction project, you can also create a filter to just bring up inventory needed for that overall construction project. And this is just a quick filter or quick query that I created to show you guys this example. So here, Stan, the storeroom clerk, opens up the inventory application, pulls up all the inventory needed for this project plan. And what Stan's going to want to do here is going to go ahead and click reorder items. And what this is in, this is where Stan can then choose to include, for example, soft reservations. Is this reorder a direct issue items? Is this being applied against all items in the storeroom? But what Stan's going to want to do here is reorder specifically the items that were listed in that construction project based off of two things. The first is the material required to complete the project, as well as considering, okay, for the inventory items here, there may be certain reorder points that each of these inventory items have where if they go below a certain threshold as part of this project or part of other projects, we will need to reorder more. So here we can go ahead and create a reorder item list. And here we can see that with the current balance, we're going to need to order X amount of gravel. Here we can go ahead and click Run Reorder. And what this is going to do is automatically create a purchase requisition with the items that were just listed. Now, once that's done, now PRs and POs, purchase requisition and purchase orders, can be completed within Maximo, or it can be completed in an external ERP. We have integrations with Oracle, SAP, and other systems where this process could be completed. Once that PR is created, it's going to look something very similar to generated by reorder. These reorders can be done automatically and scheduled. For example, let's go back one. can automatically be created by running a schedule, or they can be created manually in Maximo as well. Here we can see the purchase requisition that has been created, and it includes all the PR lines listed here. Typically, it would also have the corresponding work order, but I didn't include that information as part of this demonstration. But all of the other key information, such as where to ship to, bill to, all of that is automatically populated as part of this purchase requisition. If there's terms and conditions, it can also automatically populate in here as well. Once this is approved, this is going to move into a PO. Here we can go ahead and create a PO and auto number it. And this is going to take all the information, the purchase requisition lines, and the value here is that instead of having to manually enter all this information, it's done automatically. And if you have an external system, it's good to also see how this is done in Maximo because a lot of this information would then be pre-populated in your external system. So I'm not going to go ahead and show you guys the what this would look like as a purchase order. It'll look very similar, except instead of a requisition and a request for purchasing, it's just going to be a purchase order. Once that purchase order is approved and these line items have been are being sent to the central storeroom, I'm going to walk you all through in a little bit how that process would look like. But I want to take a step back and walk you through how Sam, the supervisor, once this project is underway, we now have a project that has been created with 5 milestones in order to complete. We understand the materials needed, the services needed, the tools needed, the resources needed in order to complete the project. Now, as this project is underway, we're going to want to keep tabs on where this project is. So Sam, the supervisor, is going to go ahead and open up the planning application to keep track of how this overall construction project is going. So the true value here for Sam is being able to see this overall project in a Gantt view. As time passes, Sam wants to understand, okay, are we on target as far as completing the project? As far as materials go, are we on target to, for one, get the materials that we need, to meet the required deadlines that are set forth? Do we have the right, are we using more than what we estimated? Are we less than what we estimated? Having this information as well as those availability, the craft's availability as the project plan changes, Sam needs a single source of truth in order to have all this information at her fingertips. And here we're going to open up the schedule of the construction project. Here we see that this construction project is going from, it looks like sometime this September 10th all the way into October. Here are the key milestones. And if we drill down, for example, within our site preparation, we can see all the tasks that need to be completed in order for this project to be complete. And here we can see what some of those key action items are, such as the site survey, demolition, utility preparation. But just as importantly, as these projects are continuing, Sam wants to be able to understand, okay, from a weekly perspective, what's our estimated labor versus actual? Are we are we having the estimated material, are we on track for that? What is the actual material being used? And it's calculating costs at a weekly, monthly, yearly basis as this project is underway. Same thing with materials. Are we using more labor than we expected, less labor from a daily, weekly, monthly perspective? And we can update this by just clicking the button at the top each day. And this can run in schedule as well, but ensuring that we are meeting the project demands and its scope. So now that we've looked at how Sam would look at a work package for a construction project, we've been able to quickly evaluate costs, the planned material. We've been able to create a purchase order based off material that we didn't have for the project. And now that Sam has visibility into the overall project, whereas in the past, a lot of this had to be done for example, manually through Excel and building out these type of views. Now we're going to switch over to Stan, the storeroom clerk, that now that this project is in place, we have an order for all the materials. Stan, the storeroom clerk, is now going to receive, inspect that material, and then allocate that material to a technician to complete the overall work. How this typically gets done is on the mobile application. So let's go ahead and open up Maximo Mobile. And we're going to walk you through how Stan, the storeroom clerk, would then receive the material as part of the PO and then allocate that material to a technician to complete the work. So the first thing that Stan, the storeroom clerk, is going to do, and Maximo Mobile is available on Windows, iOS, Android. All you have to do is just go to the App Store and click download, and then Stan, the storeroom clerk, can begin his work. So Stan's going to go ahead and open up Maximo Mobile. And the first thing that Stan is going to do as part of his day-to-day is going to go ahead and receive the material that is coming in a part of the PO. As we saw earlier, there's additional material that we'll need in order to complete our projects. And as we scroll down, we can see that PO that was generated earlier. If we click into that, so the first thing that Stan's going to do is going to go ahead and open up that PO. And I also included an additional, beyond just gravel, I also included another item that is going to require an inspection as part of this demonstration. So Stan's going to go ahead, open up the purchase order, and begin to receive the material for this project. So here Stan can see all the material that as they come in, Stan can validate, okay, did we get the right material as part of this, as the shipment comes in? And so here is part of this PO, Stan can go ahead and say, yes, I did receive the material needed, including the gravel. And he's automatically notified by Maximo, hey, there's actually one material that needs to be inspected. And the reason why I picked this PO is to show you guys the inspection process. So here is where then Stan would be able to inspect these items. Out of the box, we have a way for Stan to enter rejection code, additional comments. But through configuration, you can also include things such as attachments. In the case that Stan needs to include an attachment of the items that are being received. And we also have machine learning capabilities within Maximo that can actually analyze these images and showcase, hey, we received the right amounts as part of this inventory receiving process. They are of the correct quantity, and even they are the right inventory that we should be receiving. Maximo actually has the capability to do that as well. But here I'm just showing a very simple use case of us opening our PO, receiving it, inspecting it. If there's any returns that are needed, say that, after an inspection, we decide that a few of these items are not into the condition that we want. Any receipts, so any transactions that, such as returns or voids, are listed as a receipt to keep track of any activity associated with this PO. And lastly, voiding. So if we need to void any material as part of the receiving of this, we can include that as well. Once we're completed receiving the PO, Maximo will automatically update the PO that we have received it. And Stan is now ready to allocate this material to as part of a work order. So the next thing I want to highlight as part of this is the process of Stan allocating this material as part of a work order. So here I'm going to generate a QR code for the work order, and we're going to open up the mobile app again to show you how this process would work. So let's say now that we have the material within our central storeroom needed to be allocated, Stan, the storeroom clerk, is going to see the work orders that need material to be issued to them. So as a technician comes to Stan and says, hey, I have work order 3778 that requires material, what Stan is going to be able to do is quickly, either using a barcode or a QR code, is going to be able to then scan the QR code as part of a work order and automatically bring up the material needing to be assigned. So with this, Stan's going to go ahead and click into this work order, see that this work order specifically requires X amount of material. And what's really valuable to Stan as a storeroom clerk is this automatically gives him information such as not only the material, but what quantity, where is this located? If there's multiple bins that house this inventory, where's the location of the material? And just as importantly, who is this being assigned to? All of this information is being tracked within Maximo. Now, let's say that there's multiple bins that we need to pull this inventory from. Maximo allows you to do something called a split, which you can choose, okay, I want X amount of material from this bin, I want X amount of material from this bin. But for this example, we can just go ahead and assign the material and approve this material to be assigned as part of the work order. Now that Stan has been able to quickly bring up the material and assign it, now their technicians are no longer having to wait for material. They can begin their work. So that wraps up the demo I wanted to show around inventory receiving and allocating. Stan now has the ability on his mobile device to quickly receive, inspect material, allocate it to the right individuals so that they can get the work completed that they need to. The next persona we're going to focus on is Tom the technician. Now, in the past, Tom had to complete a lot of his work on a clipboard and paper. And there's a lot of challenges associated with this, such as tracking failures with the work, having an intimate understanding of all the materials, the tasks that Tom needs to have in order for him to complete the work. So we're going to switch over to the role of Tom the technician, and I'm going to walk you through how Tom would then open up Maximo Mobile and complete his work for the day. So here, Tom the technician is going to go ahead and open up his schedule for the day. It's going to list all of the work orders that are assigned to him, along with its priority in order for him to complete the work. As we saw before, work order 3778 is the work order that Stan, the storeroom clerk, assigned the material to as part of the work. Stan has all the material he needs to complete this work, so Stan would then complete the work order as seen here. Now, there's other demos that I have on the YouTube that walks in detail of how to complete the work. But what's important here from an inventory demo standpoint is to show you that Tom now has all the material he needs to complete the work. For a more in-depth demo, please see one of my other videos on how a technician would complete this process. But from here, Stan now has the ability to complete his work on the mobile device. So the last part of this demo that I want to showcase is how Stan the Storeroom Clerk on the desktop, and again, this you can pull up this same dashboard on your mobile device. But what we're going to show here is how Stan the Storeroom Clerk would then continue to monitor inventory and update inventory as this construction project is being completed. We walked you through thus far how Sam, the supervisor, was able to create the overall construction work package, be able to look at the costs, be able to track the overall project plan as it matures. We saw how Stan, the storeroom clerk, can now have visibility into not only what material needs to be reordered in order to ensure everything, all work related projects are getting completed in an orderly fashion, but now has the ability to allocate it on his mobile device. Whereas before, a lot of this was probably tracked in Excel documents. And now Stan the Storeroom has a single source of truth where he can complete a lot of this work. Same thing with Tom the technician. A lot of technicians today are having their work postponed because they're waiting on material. Maximo automates a lot of these processes to ensure that Tom the technician is doing more work in less time waiting. So the last part of this inventory demo that I want to showcase is how Stan the Storm can track his inventory and ensure that he's meeting the key performance indicators that he's measured on. So for example, as we scroll down, Stan's going to go ahead and open up Maximo once again. The first thing that Stan's going to see is a couple of the key performance indicators, such as where are we spending a lot of our money, where do we have work orders that are waiting material? This is extremely important for Stan to understand. What is our target versus our actuals? As we scroll down, we can see items that are needing repair, items requiring physical counting. So Maximo allows Stan to do a lot of the cycle counting that he's responsible for in his day-to-day, ensuring that the balances that are reflected in the storerooms match the balances that are listed within our software. As we scroll down, we're going to see other key information that Stan needs to know, such as what inventory do we have today that have not been issued in the past year that are just sitting around our storerooms. This inventory could potentially be allocated to other projects, other storerooms. Inventory issued in the last month, so ensuring that we have an intimate understanding of where items are currently. Are they issued part of the work order? Are they hard reserve, soft reserve? Just having a holistic understanding of our inventory today. One part of Maximo that Stan leverages a lot is the manage inventory application. What's really key for Stan in his day to day is understanding, okay, what items are allocated across our facilities, our other storerooms that I'm responsible for maintaining in my day to day. We can drill into the over each individual storeroom to see exactly not only a description and the ID of an item, but we can also pull up information such as where it's located, what it's been, its lot, is it used, is it of new condition, what's our balances, where are they reserved, what work orders are they assigned to, and other key information that Stan needs in his day to day. One thing that I get asked a lot by clients is, okay, so do we have the capability for Stan to, scan an item and bring up its balances within the storeroom? And on the far right-hand corner, as we saw earlier, Maximo does have the ability to scan QR codes, barcodes, And it also has other scanning capabilities to bring up the items as Stan needs to. Lastly, I want to also highlight as Stan goes and does cycle counting, all of that can be done on the mobile device as well, but this is how you would do it on the desktop version. And as Stan is doing these cycle counts, and maybe he finds that they have more than what's been recorded in our balances, or maybe we have less than what's recorded in our balances, Maximo will automatically notify Stan of any changes, any reconciliation that needs to be done within the tool. And then lastly, Stan has a holistic understanding of all the items currently across all of their storerooms that he can quickly filter and bring up. So with that, this is what I really wanted to show as part of today's demonstration. It was just a quick inventory management demo to walk you through one scenario of how a construction plan could be tracked from start to finish, specifically to inventory management. And what we saw here is a tremendous amount of value that can be realized from clients by leveraging Maximo for inventory management for construction projects. And that includes things such as no longer does Sam, the supervisor, Stan, the storeroom clerk, and Tom, the technician, have to monitor and maintain the status of these projects manually on clipboard and paper. You can do it in a digital fashion, and which can help optimize these processes. And here we can see labor utilization 10 to 20% increases, reducing inventory needs and carrying costs by having these project plans run smoothly, not having technicians waiting around for materials. And these projects can go a lot smoother for clients who leverage Maximo. So that's what I wanted to show today, everybody. Thank you again for taking the time. Um, if you have any questions around what Maximo can do, there's anything that's not shown. This again, this is an out-of-box demonstration. Configurations or something that really is a extremely important part of Maximo. Anything not shown in this demonstration can easily be configured in Maximo. So let me know if there's anything more I can show, and look forward to our next demonstration.